You ever wonder what gets talked about around the water cooler at a sailing magazine? I want to share an article with you that Daryl wrote on the Tartan 30 that we recently updated a few days ago because there's one for sale and we all really like it. And our chief content officer almost bought it. And I asked him first because this might actually drive the price of this boat up just a smidge. Here's the article Daryl wrote, and I'll link it in the description for you guys. The Tartan 30, an affordable classic. Daryl begins, if you're looking for a good buy in the weekender, it pays to buy the brand. There will always be compromises when it comes to older boats, soft decks, tired cordage, weak sail inventory, but affordability is what we're after, especially if it comes with a respected name, like Tartan. There are plenty of Tartan lovers out there, and the Tartan fleet has held up really well over the decades. We concentrated here on the Tartan 30, part of a whole class of plus or minus 30 footers that emerged during a remarkably active period of production boat building. The early 1970s was the heyday of the 30-foot racer cruiser. The phenomenon was not a coincidence either. The midget ocean racing class with a maximum boat length of 30 feet had just become highly popular. People were crazy for this stuff. And the IOR 3/4 ton class, the poor man's 1 ton, had just been formed. And most persuasive of all, a 30-foot boat could offer eager boat buyers what they thought they wanted. 5 or 6 berths, full headroom, fully enclosed head, complete galley, and a big boat heft. Better still, the rapidly maturing fiberglass boat building industry was ready to produce a lot of these boats. These elements combined to produce a whole generation of boats with moderate displacement, beam, and draft, rudders well separated from shortened, modified fin keels, and masthead rigs with a fairly high aspect ratio, none of which were particularly distorted by the dictates of rating rules. Much about their design was traditional, yet there were significant departures, long water lines relative to overall length, high topsides, and reverse transoms that gave them a contemporary look. I want to stop Daryl here for a second because he mentions that the 30-ish footers we're looking at today, like the Tartan 30, come from a special place. The Midget Ocean Racing Series was just formed, so 30 footers were in high demand, but these boats were not hindered by the IOR 3/4 ton design rules. I know exactly what Daryl means here because I have an IOR 3/4 ton. The Tartan 30 is a Sparkman Stephens too, one of the most renowned designers of the time, but the Tartan is well designed, and these are my words here, nothing ridiculous about it to meet some racing rules of the era. My Sparkman Stephens 3/4 ton design number 2166 is IOR. She's 35 feet and was designed to incorporate some ridiculousness. To meet IOR rules of the time, she has these huge hips and tumble home that will be guaranteed to be the first thing to scrape the dock. Ask me how I know. She's got massive overhangs at each end, and her LOA of 35.5 feet, when reaching the actual waterline when she's standing straight up and down, drops to a ridiculous 26 feet. IOR in its heyday, but it did make for some pretty beautiful boats. This Tartan, on the other hand, is a 30-footer not designed to ridiculousness, and it shows. You get a much less ridiculous beam, a stern that's actually mostly in the water when she's standing upright, but you still get the benefits of a shallower draft modified fin, and the rudder is on a skeg, just where we like it. Daryl continues, the result of all this 30-foot rage was such production boats as the Pearson 30, the Yankee 30, the Newport 30, the Cal 2-30, the Morgan 30/2, and the Scampi, to name a few of the more familiar ones. In all, no less than 24 boats of a similar size and type were introduced in just 3 years. This was crazy. Many of them became highly successful among sailors eager for the performance and amenities of big boats at a more modest price. I can also attest to what Daryl's saying here. One of the clubs I raced in last year, we took first place on none other than a vintage Pearson 30. We beat out the Olsen 30 and the Abbott 33 on this old Pearson and PHRF Spinnaker class. Daryl continues, among the most noteworthy and enduring of the 30-footers from this era has been the Tartan 30. Designed by Sparkman Stephens when that name was far and away the most prestigious in yacht design, the Tartan 30 exemplified the solidly built, comfortably appointed, fast production boat, which typified not just the early 70s, but as it turned out, almost a whole decade. The Tartan 30 was discontinued in 1980. In her first year, 1971, the Tartan 30 was the most successful 30-footer on a wide variety of race courses. In 76, she won the MORC in Long Island Sound, just as another one had done 5 years earlier. Daryl's article goes on to discuss this wonderful boat, and it's well worth the read. The link's in the description. But here's where the water cooler talk at Practical Sailor starts. There's one of these for sale right now, and our chief content officer, also called Tim, almost bought it. Tim writes, in updating Practical Sailor's Tartan 30 review, we wondered what was on the market for these small but spacious weekenders. You can pick one up for less than $15,000 on today's used market. We came away from our search with a profound realization. When you're shopping for a 70s vintage sailboat, it pays to find one that's been repowered. We ran into the quintessential barn find when we started looking at these well-regarded boats. That gleaming red gem, though, in the companionway of this photograph is a brand new Beta Marine diesel with 40 hours on it aboard a Tartan 30, listed for sale right now in Newport for $14,900. Email Parker at newwaveyachts.com for more information. Tim points out that Parker owes him a beer now. For comparison, we offer a photo of another used Tartan 30 listed for $12,000, showing the original Universal Atomic 4. You got to get the picture here. When you're boat shopping, you're buying the engine here. If you find a previous owner who's replaced the boat's principal machinery, it's highly likely a sound hull and rig is going to come with it. Shrouds, terminals, and cordage will probably need attention, of course, and you're probably going to find a soft spot in the deck near any penetrations, but a stout power plant with a tendon through hull, stuffing box, cutlass bearing, and prop scratches those big items off your list. Plus, a repower means you'll be working with an owner who has likely taken care of business elsewhere. And here's the deal with a repower. A Beta 16, which this boat has, brand new installed, is a significant investment. Most dealers are quoting $10,000 to $12,000 to have this done. And then there are the extras, not just the engine, but a control panel, wiring, a fuel system, drive system. There's a huge list to consider for a repower. My 3/4 ton was a total of over $18,000 on her repower. The message was clear here. If you want a quick little 30-footer that was well made, is nice enough inside to sleep you and your family for the weekend, and has a brand new reliable engine, this old Tartan sitting in Newport right now for under $15,000 is one heck of a deal. If you keep the hours on her low, the sail serviceable, and the water out of the deck core, she won't even lose much value over the years. Now, I checked with the other Tim first, and it turns out he can't buy this boat right now, but he was very close to pulling the trigger, which says a lot about what this boat really is. A classic, an affordable race boat, a quick 30-footer that will give the modern J24 boats a good run on race night, a place to stay on the weekends, and an opportunity to own a boat with a brand new engine without having to do the brand new engine work. And that can be priceless. Don't forget to go read the article, and if you could, subscribe to our channel here at Practical Sailor. This is all new, and we're going to bring you videos every Monday and Saturday. And leave a comment for me on this video. Let me know what your favorite 70s or 80s vintage boat is and why. Let's talk about it.